I intentionally want to do very hard things. So one of the examples is 29029, right? So for me, I went to a mountain in Utah and I had 36 hours to hike 29,000 feet. So it was go up a mountain 13 times, gondola down, go up, down, right? So the reason that I do that stuff is because I want to build the grit muscle, the endurance muscle, the I can do hard things muscle, because you got to think going through that and in the middle of the night by yourself, no headphones, no one's bailing you out. What do you think I came back as a version of Monday morning? Do you all of a sudden think a missed interview is going to throw me off my game? Do you think because someone slow paid me as a client, all of a sudden I'm rattled? I'm not. I'm actually more dangerous and more dynamic because I built that internal muscle.
What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of the Smart Nutrition Made Simple show. Now, today's guest is someone who embodies the words relentless discipline in every area of his life. Brent Orsuga is not a fitness coach, yet his daily habits, mindset, and intentionality would definitely put most athletes and coaches, frankly, to shame. Brent's the founder of Pinnacle Growth Advisors, which is an elite recruiting firm in logistics and supply chain, and he's widely recognized as one of the top headhunters in the nation. But I got to say, what really drew me to Brent beyond his business success is his philosophy around living life with intentionality over intensity. He's a husband, a father of two girls, a man who overcame 2 Achilles tears in just over a year, and someone who chooses to do brutally hard things like hiking the equivalent of Everest in under 36 hours, not because he has to, but because he knows that building grit and resilience in his body builds resilience in every other area of his life. So in this conversation, Brent and I dive into why he believes that being quote unquote still not satisfied isn't about chasing accolades, but it's about who you become along the way. We talk about how his back against the wall moment led him to start his recruiting company from scratch with no clients, no contracts, and a one-year-old daughter to feed. We talk about his perspective on why so many successful men crush it in business but fail miserably around their health and fitness, and the trade-offs he makes to live in peak physical and mental shape year-round, and why he doesn't view them as sacrifices at all. And then lastly, we talk about how intentionality, data, and taking radical ownership drive everything from his physique goals to his revenue targets. So this is a fun one. This episode, it's not about macros, and it's not about calories, and it's not about meal plans, and it's not about workout tips. It's about, frankly, the most important facets of creating change. It's about mindset. It's about self-talk, and really the internal standards that separate the average from the elite in business and fitness and in life. So if you're ready to hear from someone who truly walks his talk and will challenge you to raise your own standards, then this episode is one that you don't want to miss out on. Without further ado, let's dive in with my buddy Brent Orsuga. Brent Orsuga, welcome to the Smart Nutrition Made Simple show. What's up, brother?
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. Always glad to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited to speak. We're in kind of the same local community here. We're in a men's group together, men's rucking group, and we've had the opportunity to have a couple conversations. And while you're not in health and fitness, you live and breathe health and fitness and high performance, if you will, which is part of why I wanted to have this conversation and share your ethos with our community, because I think it speaks volumes to this kind of quote unquote high performing mentality. And I think it's a little bit different perspective from a lot of the content that I share through this podcast, because I mostly interview people in the health and fitness space. So I'm looking forward to kind of being able to share your knowledge and wisdom with our audience. So Brent, I messaged you on Instagram a couple weeks ago. You had posted about how you would hit sub 10% body fat on like a DEXA scan or an in-body scan or something like that. And I think I gave you, like a clapping emoji or something. And you messaged me back, still not satisfied. And then I responded, I imagine you say that about most everything in your life. So where does this quote unquote still not satisfied attitude come from?
Everything I do is just very intentional. And I live with like, I have to have a carrot in front of me. I have to have some goal that I achieve. And I think that what you and I briefly talked about, it's never about the end result. It's never about the trophy. It's never about the accolade. It's always about the journey and who you become on that path. So I don't care if it's business awards. I don't care if it's personal. Once that's done, I celebrate it for about 2 seconds and it's like, well, what's next? Because I know the evolution of what's going to happen during that process. And that's what excites me more than the actual, like I said, prize. So that's just in a way that I just live life, again, in business and personal, because I'm always striving to become the best version of myself.
Yeah, I mean, that's clear. I shared a number of your accolades in the introduction. And so clearly you've created a lot of business success. You've obviously, as I alluded to, created body composition and seemingly health success. Talk to us a little bit about your evolution and kind of quick version of where you came from and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, I mean, even on the business side. So I'm originally from San Jose, California, so Northern California. I came out here to go to ASU to go to school and never left. So I've been out here, 25 plus years, 48, married, two girls, 12 and 9. Been in recruiting, for like 23 years. And so always had a knack for bringing people into a group, bringing people into an organization, planting seeds, and had the opportunity to even lead and manage people at a young age. And then my industry specifically of supply chain and logistics, I've been in for 16 years. I started my company 11 years ago from literally nothing. Typical entrepreneur story. I had a partner who I was running with for 5 years. May 1st, 2014, literally my email shuts off. Made no sense. No heads up, no red flag, nothing. 5 minutes later, I get a letter from legal that, hey, this partnership is done. Again, no heads up. So at that time, I was at a fork in the road. I was 37, and you're at that fork in the road of life. What's going to happen next, right? So either I could go out and get a job, or I was in the position where I was like, you know what? I can do this. And I had such self-belief, but you know what I really had? A chip on the shoulder. I had that I'm going to show you moment. And within 48 hours, I started a company. And Ben, I mean, from nothing, no contracts, no agreements, no clients, no money, no reserves, literally nothing. But I had that chip on the shoulder and I had something to prove. And that was all I needed. And I'll tell you one better. I had a 1-year-old daughter. If you want to talk about reasons to win, I didn't have time to take my time. I had to go into action mode very quickly. And I'll tell you what, I still carry that chip to this day, right? Like I still use that fuel. And that's something we can lean into as a superpower around how to almost trigger yourself into the self-motivation dynamic, which I still use at this point today to kind of, if you will, play a little angry. That's one of my strong suits.
There's definitely something to having your back against the wall in those circumstances and situations and the proverbial burn the ships. And it's like just going all in. And I think it's something that a lot of, I can certainly relate to with a lot of the clients that I work with and vice versa, just in terms of like, we've all been in those circumstances. And I think if you're a entrepreneur in any way, shape or form and a business owner, well, you've certainly been in that situation. And I think it's a requisite, to get you out of your comfort zone. And the same can be said for putting yourself in those situations and circumstances around your health and fitness, is like how to challenge yourself. I know you've done a number and continue to commit to like a number of really challenging physical events to do just that. What are the things how do you challenge yourself in health and fitness as a means to show up bigger, better?
Yeah, I mean, I intentionally want to do very hard things. So like one of the examples is like 29029, right? So you're actually going, for me, I went to a mountain in Utah and I had 36 hours to hike 29,000 feet. So it was go up a mountain 13 times, gondola down, go up, down, right? So the reason that I do that stuff is because I want to build the grit muscle, the endurance muscle, the I can do hard things muscle, because you got to think going through that and in the middle of the night by yourself, no headphones, no one's bailing you out. What do you think I came back as a version of Monday morning? Do you all of a sudden think a missed interview is going to throw me off my game? Do you think because someone slow paid me as a client, all of a sudden I'm rattled? I'm not. I'm actually more dangerous and more dynamic because I built that internal muscle. So every single year, I want to make sure I'm doing something to test myself. A couple of weeks ago, I did the rim to rim to rim. Why? Because it's hard. It's not easy, right? So I want to intentionally, again, that's a big word in my life, put myself into these situations so that I have to and am forced to perform at a high level, which is going to impact and carry over into every other aspect of life. Excuse me.
I love that you share that. And the word that comes to my mind under these conditions is resilience. And I think that be a business owner, be it someone who's really trying to master their health and fitness, just listen, we are faced with constant challenges. And I think it's perspective as well in terms of like what is actually challenging for us. And conversely, like what's the story and the narrative in our head. And so what have you observed over the years, Brent, in terms of like the mental talk and the story that you tell yourself around the situations that you're in? And, like what do you say to yourself to build more of that resilience?
Yeah, I mean, self-confidence is something that you have to kind of build on your own. And the way that you build that is really by just keeping promises to yourself. So if I say I'm going to wake up at a certain time, if I'm going to work out 5 days a week, if I'm going to stay disciplined with my food, if I'm going to not veer off of this or that, the reason that people lose confidence with themselves is because they don't stay consistent with those things. So for me, I live a very regimen lifestyle. I always say you got to control the controllables, and there's certain things I can control. I can control what I put into my mind. I can control what I put into my mouth. I can control the conversations I have. I can control the circle and the people that I hang around. I can control all those. I can't control politics. I can't control cultural dynamics. I can't control a lot. But you better believe I'm going to take all that other stuff very serious. So the self-talk to me has a lot to do with those things. Why do I go work out at 4 a.m. every day? Why am I driving in the dark when other people aren't? Do you not think that will create so much inner belief when you know you're doing something that 95% of people don't? Do you not think there's a superpower when you walk into Lifetime and it's the same 6 people at 4 a.m. and no one else is there? That doesn't create some self-belief or confidence? So again, I know how much I do before the average person even wakes up. So all of a sudden I'm starting the day 1-0, right? Win the morning, win the day. So that's why I do little things like that, because every single day it just kind of compounds. And again, the confidence just increases and increases and increases. And you know you're not like everybody else, which I don't want to be.
I know you've gotten probably pushback and commentary about being extreme or intense, perhaps. How do you view that relative to, your lifestyle behaviors?
Yeah, it's simple. I'm not intense. I'm intentional. There's a difference. When somebody is intentional, I know exactly what I want. I know exactly what I'm going after. And if that intimidates other people, I don't care. They're not running my race. They don't pay for my business. They're not paying for my kids' private school. They're not controlling my diet and my body. So I live differently than a lot of people. I'm not chasing likes. I don't need to please other people. I'm running my race and I'm all gas, no brakes. This is how I operate. So what actually can happen though is when you live that lifestyle, what you'll notice, it will scare some people, but it will also motivate some people too. So when you come from the lens that, hey, I'm going to show you by example, I'm going to lead from the front, I think that actually you'll take it from more of an inspirational standpoint as opposed to a negative dynamic.
Yeah, no, without question, dude. And the conversation that I have with clients and that I think is worth our listeners taking away is people are going to have an opinion of you one way or the other. And invariably, if you want to be like most people, well, then you're going to be overweight, you're going to be sick, and you're going to experience disease, and you're going to be status quo, right? And I don't think that's where most of us want to live. And by that token is the second you start to do things that are perceived as being an outlier, waking up at 4 a.m., working out 5 days a week, going and hiking rim to rim, you name it, all the things that most people aren't doing, then everyone who's living in the middle is going to want to rationalize their own behaviors or lack of intentionality around things. And so you're going to get pushback. And oftentimes you're going to get pushback from the ones that you love the most. What and how do you leverage social support, both personal and professionally, to help you drive momentum?
Yeah, look, I think that there's a way that I live through life, and it's a little bit of delusion. Like, I come from a lens where I expect to win. I expect things to go my way. And I always ask two questions. Why not me? And if not now, when? So when you carry yourself throughout the day with that lens, again, I want to become somebody that attracts certain people into my world. I only want to have conversations with high performers. I only want to have conversations with disciplined people. So just by living that lifestyle, it's organically going to happen. Now that's on a personal lens, Ben. What you got to understand, what do I do for work? I am asked as an elite headhunter that these companies are coming to me to pay a premium to get the best of the best. So I have to be a high performer to be able to relate and resonate with other high performers, which is ultimately what they want. They're not paying me to go get average Joes. And in the hiring landscape, this is where a lot of companies even mess up. They're asking somebody who's a 6 to go get a 10. The formula is off. They're never going to relate. They're never going to speak the same language, right? What's the famous Nick Saban quote? High performers don't like low achievers and low achievers don't like high performers. It's very true. I don't care if this is in business or personal life. Too many people care about what other people think. And when you remove that and you become somebody that can attract what you want in, you understand that life is simply a boomerang and the right people will come into your life.
It's magnetic. And I say it all of the time. And the significance of the way that you model confidence, the way that you model your physique, your health and fitness, the way that you dress, how you hold yourself, your posture, the way that you walk into a room, the way that you communicate, it's immediately a differentiator.
Well, Ben, think about where I play, right? From the hiring landscape. First impressions are everything. Whether it be on a job interview, whether you go to a conference, what's the first thing that people see? They see you visually and they can pick up on your energy. So when you walk around very well dressed, clothes that actually fit and or tailored, your physique is in shape. Maybe you have a bicep vein. All these little things, don't think that people don't pay attention and see that. You have the ability to tell a story without even having to say anything. I'm showing you that I'm disciplined. I'm telling you that I actually care. I'm clean cut. I'm polished. That's before I even open my mouth. And that's where I get real dangerous because you want to start talking business at that point. I know everything I need to know. People judge people whether you want to admit it or not. Whether it be a picture on LinkedIn to get a job interview, whether it's actually doing an interview, within 30 seconds, people are making a judgment if they like you or not. The rest of the time, they're just justifying that. So don't think for 1 second, this doesn't matter. I think people need to take it more serious.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, listen, this is what I do. And I think that a lot of guys, well, let's say men and women, but I think a lot of professionals take it for granted and rationalize investing time and energy into family and career at the expense of their health and fitness and say, when I accomplish X, Y, Z, then I'll start focusing back on myself again. What would you say to that rationale?
I think it's awful because look, you can have the accolades, you can have the Rolex, you can go to all the fancy resorts that we all do. But if you have that and you're out of shape and you're not feeling your best and you're embarrassed to take off your shirt and your kids are watching you and you're not feeling good, there's nothing special about that. I hate to say this, but if you ever want to have a little bit of an ego boost, go to a public pool. Go to a Great Wolf Lodge. You want to see what the average American looks like? So if you want to have a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a separator, Once you start to get in really good shape, you realize what an anomaly you are. And again, people are noticing. People are paying attention. Why would you not want to be the fit dad at the pool? Why would you not want your wife to be like, hey, you're kind of ripped? Why would you not want your kids to be like, my dad's strong? Right? So this is real stuff that I think, again, people need to take real serious. And here's the thing, Ben. What's stopping people? What's stopping them? Nothing. But themselves and their stories and their narratives that they're telling themselves on why they can't do things rather than they can. And in a minute, I want to get into intentionality around goals too, because that's equally as important.
Beautiful. I mean, it's never been easier. We've never had more tools at our disposal. And frankly, there's never been a better opportunity. Like, it's never been easier to be an outlier given the state of, right, our health and fitness today. And like you said, just by showing up and looking like you take care of yourself, automatically you're putting yourself at a different level. And it's the unfair advantage. Talk to us about the intentionality.
Well, I do, but before we get there, I want to talk about one other thing. I'll tell you like a little business hack that I started to do at conferences is, you know how all these companies, all these people, they all want to do the happy hours and they're all doing all these late night dinners and all this stuff. Well, guess what? That's not going to bring out the best version of people. Number one, people start to drink, they start to gossip, they're showing up tired the next day. One of the things that I did a couple years ago was like, I took a huge conference was here in Phoenix. I paid, instead of a happy hour, I paid for transportation to take people over to Pinnacle Peak and took 60 plus people at 6 a.m. over there. It was the buzz of the conference. Everybody then felt better going into their day. And now I have seen that carry over into so many different events where people are copying that. Because think about it too. Where do you think the high performers are? Do you think they're really out and about at 10, 11 o'clock at night? Or do you think they're actually waking up to get after it and start their day fresh? So think about, again, from a recruiting lens, where do I want to be?
100%. Yeah.
So where am I stealing people at, right? So when you start to understand how the game's played, that's number one. Number two, to go back to intentionality, I always work away from a goal. I don't work towards it. I want to explain that. I come from a place, it's already happened. If it's a revenue number, if it's an award, the Inc. 5000, whatever the case may be, if it's a body fat percentage, my mind already goes to, it already occurred. Just what do I need to do to make it a reality? Then one of the little hacks or tricks that I do is I will intentionally become obsessed with it. I create graphics around this. I will put pictures. I sent you a picture of myself and Sylvester Stallone from Rocky IV, right? You know how many times I've stared at that photo and that physique? Do you not think that I became obsessed with it? I want to look like that. I'm going to look like that. And I don't come ever from a place of I pray, I hope, I wish. I'm going to. And when you become intentional, it's like getting into a car and a GPS. You have to know exactly where you're going. The universe will guide you and take you there, but you have to be intentional. It's not enough, Ben, to be like, I want to make more money. I want to lose some weight. I want to go on more trips. Well, what does that mean? Mm-hmm. So for me, if I'm going to say I want to be by July 1st, I want to be under 10%. I want to weigh 175. I want to be benching this amount. From a business standpoint, in 2025, I want this number of placements. I want this revenue number. This is going to be my average fee. This is stuff I have on my computer, on my lock screen. I'm constantly obsessed with it. And again, I'm already coming from that expectation that it already happened. It already happened. So when it does happen, I'm actually never surprised. I'm more surprised if it does not occur. And I will do whatever it takes not to let that happen.
Yeah, I mean, this is just being objective and, leveraging numbers to make informed decisions of like, listen, if we're going to have X number of sales, how many conversations, how many calls do we need to have? What's our close rate? Like that's any business. And it's the exact same with our health and fitness and the conversations that we have with clients is like, you said you want to be here by this date. I think that's perfectly reasonable. Let's start to work backwards. Okay, that's a pound a week. That's 0.5% body fat, and here's the behaviors that we need to impose, that you need to adopt and learn and develop, and the skills that are requisites for you to be able to move the needle.
Everything is a math equation, and all you do is reverse engineer. That's all it is, right? And you have to remember too, there is no overnight millionaire. There is no 7-day abs. There are no shortcuts. Chat GPT is not going to come and save the day. It boils down to having an executable plan and then going into action and trusting the process, trusting people like yourself who know what the heck they're doing and have hundreds, if not thousands of success stories, and following the playbook, just like in sports. No one shows up to a practice to play audibles and play loose. They're not playing backyard football. There's a playbook. This works. Follow it and don't veer from it.
You know what boggles my mind, Brent, is it doesn't, because, and I'm sure you know plenty of successful guys in business, yet they're a disaster in their health and fitness. So fundamentally, they understand the process and the levels involved in scaling a business and having their back against the wall and experiencing, massive challenges, because everyone's been through that, right? And so from a business mindset standpoint, they've slowly and progressively built the skills and the tools and the knowledge to be quote unquote successful. Yet when it comes to their own physique, their own health, the way they prioritize themselves, their level of confidence, their level of self-efficacy, it's nowhere to be found. What are your observations on that? Why do you think that there's such a disconnect for certain people around that?
Because I think people lean into areas that they're good at. So, right, people have a comfort level. If their confidence is tied to business and revenue and titles and all these things, I'm going to put a lot of energy there. I don't think people have been angry enough or looked in the mirror deep enough to be disappointed to take that massive action that it takes. Because again, when you're sitting on a pedestal and everyone's telling you how great you are, right? Oh man, this guy's a killer in business. This guy makes a lot of money. Well, cool, but he's got a big old belly. And so again, I don't think people get irked enough. Where do you understand? See, this is how I operate too. Go look up the stats on how many people have under 10% body fat, make 7 figures, and let's even add in like our over 6 feet. Do you understand it's like 0.0001%?
Didn't you say it was like 800 people or something?
So the minute I hear that, I automatically become obsessed. Not, hey, that would be cool, pray, hope, and wish. No, it's going to happen. You see how my mind works? I'm going to be one of those statistics because it's so rare. If I fall and get into that category, how can my confidence not be extreme? How can that confidence now all of a sudden not piggyback into my business aspect? It's all correlated together. I don't have a lot of respect for people that crush business, but they're complete train wrecks, like you said. I have no respect for somebody that's sloppy with their drinking, is out of shape. It doesn't take any effort. It takes no effort. You show me somebody who's cranking over here and cranking over there, that's a dangerous person. I'm
with you. And so, but I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment, because there's always trade-offs and there's always sacrifices to be made, or perceived sacrifices, especially when someone is going from one lifestyle to a radical shift in lifestyle that's required to lose body fat, get lean, so on and so forth. And so for you, what are the sacrifices? What are the trade-offs that you feel like you need to make in your life in order to accomplish what you want to accomplish?
I think a lot of people forget it's not actually what you do, it's what you don't do. It's what you don't do. So what don't I do? I don't drink. I got that out 3 years ago.
Why?
Because I came off of tearing 2 Achilles in 13 months. And I couldn't move.
The same Achilles?
No, both. Basketball got me 2 times. So I tore one, came all the way back, was playing hoops again, 13 months, tore the other one. So I had to reset the clock. So that was 2 years of not being able to move, knee scooters, surgeries, boots, not sleeping great, right? So for me, removing alcohol just became if I'm going to be a high performer, if I want to get into elite shape, and I was just plain angry at that time, I'm going to say, I'm going to do whatever it takes to go the complete opposite. You give me the chance to move again, I'm moving. I'm moving. I'm getting dangerous. I'm getting lean. I'm never going to let this happen again. So again, I had a reason to win or a trigger. Alcohol for me just became something that I just became not good at anymore. It didn't take much to throw me off. Having two small children, going to business events, feeling bad or not 100% for 3 or 4 days. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? How does that serve me in a good situation? So I removed that. One of the best things our family did is we got in touch with a chef that actually every week comes to our house and makes food. So now I can control what I put in my mouth. It's portion control. I know it's fresh. I'm not eating processed foods. Even now when we go out to dinner, I'm so thoughtful of what I do. I love Dominic's. I love sushi, but I'm eating different. It's just thought. Think how many people just go and just whatever. For sure. I slow down. We order different. So much goes into it.
And that's a great explanation because fundamentally it is a mindset shift, because oftentimes people will discuss the trade-offs and the quote unquote sacrifice and say, well, that means I can't drink multiple nights per week. It means I can't eat out. It means I can't entertain clients the way that I could, should, normally would, right? It means I can't, quote unquote, have fun on vacation, yada, yada, yada. But if you acknowledge, well, those are the very things that are keeping you stuck to begin with.
It's social pressures, right? Like even alcohol, if we stay there, it's so socially normalized. Go to the Phoenix Open. You're a black sheep if you don't. What I used to do is I started with me doing 75 hard, right? Because even that is a challenge that's hard for people because like, well, I have this trip, I have this conference, I have this wedding, I have the Phoenix Open, I have all this concert I want to go to, all these things. And even now when I go to like business events, I see people who don't really want to partake, but they don't know how to say no. So I've seen them walk around with a fake beer, whatever, where now I completely own it. I almost want people to say something, right? And what you'll notice too is that when you do that and you tell people, well, I'm going to get up at 4 a.m, I'm training for this, whatever. What are they going to say? What are they going to say? You're a loser? Yeah. Well, guess what? I'm not, right? So the more that you start to just own it and again, not care what people think, they start to look at you a little different and not in a bad way.
Because you genuinely don't care because you know viscerally that this is what makes you actually feel awesome, to the point where again, you start to look at the situations and circumstances that you used to put yourself in, and you can't fathom behaving in those same ways. And I think that's such a powerful way for, and tool for people to understand that as they're going through this transformation, if you will, this mindset shift, this journey, this evolution, that you literally are becoming a different person to the point where you're going to look back and you say, don't feel like sacrifices. Right now, if I wasn't able to wake up early, if I had to sleep in, if I wasn't able to get my steps, if I can't find a gym for, more than a few days, I'm going to feel like a piece of shit.
Yep. And look, I mean, again, for me, just the discipline and the structure is the structure. And I think, again, people, it's so easy. Well, I'm at a conference. I got to go to this dinner. The hotel gym isn't good. Like now I almost pick my hotel stays on how close I am to a lifetime, or I'm researching what gyms are in certain areas, right? So again, it's just a lifestyle change that is there. And it's so easy not to, but guess what? It's actually easier to just do it. And when it becomes part of your lifestyle, it's not as hard as you think.
It's not. It's going back to the daily non-negotiables. Yeah. Like, what are the commitments that I'm making to myself? How am I living with integrity and doing the things that I said I'm going to do and honoring those promises, and then just perpetually building the evidence to prove that I am the person that I say that I am. And you'll just build, and you'll build momentum and build momentum.
But it goes back to being intentional too. Too many people play loose. They play loose. So when you play loose, you act loose, right? Well, I want to lose weight. Okay, cool. They haven't defined a concrete hard number. They don't know the exact amount of calories. They don't know the exact amount of steps. They don't know the amount of weeks that they have to program this into play. They don't know that maybe they've never taken their body fat, right? They don't know. People always tell you they make more than they do and they weigh less than they do. Welcome to the real world, right? So when you live off of numbers, because here's the thing, numbers never lie, people do. I want as many numbers and metrics as possible. I don't care if it's through blood work. I don't care if it's through DEXA fits. All I'm trying to do is optimize. But I can't tweak something if I don't know what to tweak. So I am a data-driven person in business and in personal.
Yeah, I mean, it's as far as I'm concerned, and I've talked about this ad nauseum on the show, but there's a reason why we track metrics.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you value your time, money, and energy, then you probably should want to track those metrics as well. So you're actually accomplishing what you said you want to accomplish and not, like you said, play loose. Brent, talk to me about self-development and kind of your personal identity and how do you feed that? How have you fed that over the years?
Mm-hmm.
Outside of obviously you take a lot of action, but right? How do you develop that?
It's brain food, right? I can control what I put in my mouth. Why would I not control what I put in my brain? So if you don't dictate what that is, the world will dictate it for you. I'm going to have negative news articles. I'm going to have negative news. I'm going to have a lot of really bad stuff coming at me. I mute that noise. So I'm always intentionally feeding my brain with motivation, podcast, information, good stuff, right? So I'm training this to only know that it wants more of that. And I will reject the negative. Doesn't mean I don't know what's going on. I'm not naive to the news and the market and all that stuff. I have to pay attention to it, but I don't have to let it consume me either. So every time I'm in the drive, especially in the morning, I'm listening to Les Brown. I have for 10 plus years, every single morning. So not only am I starting my day with some positivity in my mind, what am I going to do? I'm going to the gym. I'm 2-0 right there. When most people are sleeping, make it 3-0. I'm compounding all these little things so that by the time I'm out of there, I'm already flying high. My self-belief is there. I'm going to carry that into now when I go home and play dad. I'm in a good mood. Sanity, not vanity. That's really what working out is too, right? It's a mental release. I'm getting my yayas out. I'm going to be a caged animal otherwise. So I'm coming home at 6 a.m. as a better version of myself. Why would your spouse, why would your kids not want that? Do you think they would encourage it?
I think that's the epitome of being selfless, not selfish. And that's also why I brought up social support of, ensuring that you have a partner, because listen, for those of you listening, I mean, it is who you surround yourself with that's really going to make or break this journey and this process. And you've got to have the support so that you can, take care of yourself, because we all want to take care of everyone else as well. But obviously, if we're not putting our oxygen mask on first, then it's going to be pretty damn challenging.
And that's personally why I'm an early bird. I don't disrupt the house. I don't disrupt the rhythm. I'm doing so much before people even open their eyes. I'm there and I don't miss anything, so that when I am there, I'm present. I'm not itching to get out of the house. I'm not disrupting the flow. I've already gotten my stuff out of the way. So again, I'm not saying everybody's going to be a morning person, but I know how to maximize my time. So that again creates that discipline. Even when we go on vacation now, I hate to say this, but we're probably always going to get 2 rooms so that I can wake up early, go do my thing, and then, dad's ready to go to Disneyland now.
It's awesome. Yeah, well, I mean, why not? Because you're going to show up as a better person because of it.
Yeah.
For people that are listening, Brent, who are really just starting to tackle their health and fitness and take ownership with the desire to build confidence and self-belief, where do you think are the first steps? Like, where would you tell someone to look? If someone approached you at a conference and he's like, dude, like, what are my next steps? I really want to take ownership over my health. Like, what would you say to them?
I think you got to go look in the mirror and get a little pissed off. I think if you have a double chin, if your clothes aren't fitting right, if you're not happy with the way you look, if you're relying on old pictures, if you don't like angles, if you really look down at your belly and you can grab it and it doesn't make you feel good, you got to get angry. You got to play angry. And you got to say at some point, enough is enough. No one's going to bail you out. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to take the food out of your mouth. At some point, there just has to be that turn back moment where I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. Then from there, I think you have to start with the basics. I think I have to get in the movement. I think if you go to an average gym, you have two types of people. You have people that work out and you have people that train. And I would ask what category I fall into. People that work out are just checking a box. Going to Orange Theory, going to F45. I'm, putting on some Viore and I'm watching TV on an elliptical. Am I really getting after it? Have I ever actually trained? Have I pushed myself, lifted heavy, invested in a trainer, grabbed my one buddy who's ripped and being like, dude, what are you doing? Let me just piggyback on you. Educate myself, bought an app, use social media. We live in a world where there's so much information available to you. Crap, you can just go on TikTok or Instagram, type in chest exercises, and the stuff's going to be there. There's no excuses, whether it be from the science, blood work, hormone, peptide world, whether it be through workouts, regimens, apps. It's never been easier to win. If not now, when? Why not me?
100%. 100%, dude. Brent, this has been absolutely fantastic having this conversation, just being able to share your knowledge and wisdom and attitude, around all of these things. Where can people, you've got a great social media presence, especially on LinkedIn. Where can people follow and find out more about you?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is kind of like the biggest platform, biggest brand, whatever. Brent Orsuga, ORSUGA. There I talk a lot about hiring, high performance, culture, but I absolutely incorporate fitness and everything into that. I do share a lot of stuff on the Pinnacle Growth Advisors Instagram page. I kind of like to show a day in the life. What does a day in the life look like? Starting at 4 a.m., the personal development podcast I listen to, trying to get 25,000 steps on a weekend, right? And again, I'm no different than a lot of people, Ben. 2 small kids, drop-offs all week long, running a business, traveling. There's just no excuses, right? So show you all that too.
So do your girls, have they memorized like self-development podcasts? And
100%, because again, I'm feeding their minds. I'm responsible for feeding their mouths, but I'm going to incorporate and teach them that stuff too, especially nowadays. I mean, that's a whole nother subject, but in a world of AI and these use, they can't get behind their phone. Even in the business landscape, these companies come to me and say, these people are so distracted. So I'm going to teach my girls how to communicate, how to have conversations, how to have self-belief, how to shake a hand, how to make eye contact. You go to the car wash, go talk to the cashier. I want them to get in the repetitions of speaking to people, having conversations. It's a lost art. Yes. People are hiding behind their phone. They don't know how to engage. And that's why do you think even from a fitness standpoint, if I'm losing that human connection, I feel like I don't need it. But that's a whole nother subject we can go down, man, because nothing's ever going to replicate a handshake, a steak dinner, building relationships, having commonalities, having trust. You can bring all the robots in the world. I will destroy you based on all those things.
Yeah, we will never be able to replace community and connection and physical connection. And those are being humans. Those are some of the most important aspects of the culture that we live in, frankly.
Well, and I don't know why I just thought of this, but even when you go on these trips and vacations, you cannot buy definition in lines. You cannot buy it. You have to earn it. And there's something to be said when you're walking around and you have a physique and people are noticing and you know that you have it too. And you catch a glimpse in a mirror. You see people looking at you differently when you're in the hot tub, right? You cannot buy this. I can buy a Rolex. I can buy first class tickets. I can buy VIP Disney. I can do all that. But when you can do that and have the other side of the coin, you want to talk about respect from your own family and others? It's game over, man.
Dude,
How can you not want that?
It's an anomaly to the degree that, I mean, sometimes I just keep my, not to toot my own horn, but sometimes I just keep my shirt on because I'm like, I don't even feel like having conversations around this right now because, again, it's such an outlier to be even remotely in shape.
I go to the airport and I watch people eating Panda Express at 7 a.m. and drinking. And I said, I hate to say this, I know everything I need to know about you. I already know how you make decisions, how you operate, your lack of discipline. I know what I need to know. But when you see somebody who's the opposite, again, are you not magnified to them a little bit? Man, what are you doing? Dude, you're freaking jacked, dude. You're ripped. What do you do?
Yeah.
So who do I want to have conversations with? What's going to create more of a high frequency dialogue than a low level? So all of a sudden, this circle and this world is being formed around me of elite high performers. That can become contagious. That can transfer into who we hang out with, who my kids hang out with, and everything else, man. It all starts with you, though. That's what you got to remember. That's why I said you got to look in the mirror and get a little pissed off.
Got to get a little pissed off. And listen, you know, this whole conversation, guys, if you're listening here, is we didn't once really talk about the X's and O's of macros and calories and what Brent does in the gym and how long he trains for, because it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. The way he's showing up, the way he's communicating, the way he thinks about things, the way he's setting intentionality around his goals, that's what I wanted to impart through this podcast. That's the mindset shift that's required in order to make significant change. And that's what I want for you guys. And so I hope that this conversation resonated with you. Brent, absolute pleasure. I appreciate you. Is there anything else that, you feel like you wanted to share that I didn't ask you, or that you want to leave the audience with?
I think people just have to realize it's not as hard as you think. You just got to start. You got to take action. And again, it's not an overnight fix. We have 6 months left in the year. Why would I not just start now? I don't care about the old version. I don't care about where it happened or where I've been. All I can do is look forward. But I can create a new identity, body, everything within a matter of months if I take it serious. And those results will become addicting.
I couldn't agree more. And a tool that I'll suggest for our listeners, if you guys are serious about making change, then you need to get really clear about what it is that you want. And a way that I would encourage you to do that is simply just to put pen to paper and just start to write down what does your life look like in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years? And, sit down first thing in the morning and write a page of what you want.
I'll stay there. One of the best exercises that was taught to me is you speak from the future.
Yes.
Well, I was always taught you have to write this. It is December 31st, 2026. I am so happy and grateful now that, and you sit there and have to use pen to paper. Describe the life that you want, the business, the body, the trips you're going on, where your kids are going to school, the clothes you're wearing, the relationships you have. It's like being a movie director and you are the star and you are creating the script. I can go into visualization and manifestation. I have found those pads of paper when we moved. Mind blowing how much actually came to fruition.
Yeah.
Nothing is by accident. Nothing randomly happens. And when you live with intention, you become intentional. And sure, that can be caused intense, but guess what? You'll get what you want.
Enough said. Brent, absolute pleasure. Appreciate you. We'll have to do this again. Thanks everyone for listening. Appreciate you guys. If you found this helpful, obviously do me a favor and leave a positive rating and review and share this with someone whom you think could benefit. Go follow Brent on social and you'll get more beautiful nuggets of wisdom and crush your day.